So even if he was fucking her casually or it was a one-time thing, I'd still ask that question and then I'd ask him. I think that would be a more of a situation where if you ask, she's like, hey man, I've been talking to her. I know you fucked her like last year. Is it cool if I hit that, or is it cool if I go on a date with her or something? Hey guys, Hector Castillo, Poppy from girlschase.com. Today I want to talk about the rules about sleeping with girls who used to date or sleep with or just kind of talk to a friend of yours. Now, the rules on whether you can sleep with her or not depend on a few variables. How close of a friend is he? How serious were their relationship? And if he's over her or not. So, if he's a best friend, this is going to be a lot more serious and potentially could ruin a friendship. If he's a friend, but not like super close, still, I would be careful. If he's kind of more like an acquaintance, because some people say, oh yeah, a friend of mine or a guy I know, it's more of a guy you know, it's an acquaintance. Maybe you've met him one time, right? So in that situation, unless it was like a super serious girlfriend, then I would stay away. But even then, sometimes it's just like, I don't know the guy really, I met him a few times at a party. It's not like we're close, maybe we follow each other on Instagram or something, right? And then it's gonna be a question of how long were they together? Was it a super serious relationship? It went on for, I don't know, what would you consider serious? 6, 8 months plus, a couple years, Was it a casual thing? They were just kind of fucking, but once you get into that territory, it's like, okay, did he really like her, but she didn't want a relationship, or was it the opposite? And then, were they just, they went on a date once, right? Or they were just fucking talking, and he wanted to get with her, but he couldn't. Okay, so let's start with a close friend, right? Absolute, like really close homie, brother. If it's a serious girlfriend, I would, as a rule, just stay away. There's just too much, even if you were to ask, which is gonna be one of my recommendations for some of the situations, even if you were gonna ask and he was gonna say yes, I'd still be careful, because sometimes a guy might say, yeah, sure, because he wants to seem like he doesn't care, right? And the fact that you would just ask in the first place might fuck with him, right? So if it was a serious girlfriend, I would really, really stay away. Unless he is just absolutely, I've known a few guys who are just like, I don't give a fuck, and I've had some guys even say it, they're like, yeah, I broke up with her, and in my fraternity, it was kind of a toxic culture, but like, it kind of shows how shitty some of my fraternity brothers were. I think a lot of it was just because, I was in a fraternity with there was a few cool guys, right? But there were mostly kind of edgelords and kind of like nerds, but not like super, like more of like the weird druggy party nerds, right? Who wanted to be like crazy and cool, but sometimes they didn't quite live up to that. They were great in some ways. Some of them were absolute pieces of shit. A lot of them were pretty cool guys. I'm not trying to shit on them too much, but one really bad habit of theirs was that and it was almost like this unspoken rule, like if a dude broke up with his girlfriend, like 5 of the 5 cigs would fucking message her, right? And I know this because I had an ex-girlfriend and she told me like 4. Now, sometimes they wouldn't be so upfront about it. They'd be like, hey, what's up? How are you, right? But she knew what was going on. And she told me later on, because we started hooking up again, was like, yeah, X and Y texted me, or X and Y messaged me, or they would show me a screenshot, and I'm just like, this is some scummy ass shit, right? Just, just trying to feed on whatever they can. So, I have some history with this, and it doesn't make you feel good. It really makes you feel like shit, especially when you like hardcore go after her too, right? So serious girlfriend, I would stay away. Unless it's like 4 or 5 years later, and I don't know, you're at a party and you run into each other, and you know that your buddy's been through 2 girlfriends already and is on his 2nd or 3rd relationship, and doesn't give a fuck. Okay, you know what? Fuck it. But I'd still question it in my head, be like, okay, what's the situation? I want to just like pussy. All right. Now, if he's a friend, or wait, we're still in the best friends. If it's a girl that he was just fucking, now we're getting a little bit more, you are gonna know because you're his best friend or because you're a close friend, you're gonna know what happened with them, probably. If not, you guys probably aren't that close, right? So you're gonna know if it was just something super casual. But even in this situation, because you're closer to him, I had one situation where I had an absolute best friend, and he fucked this girl once, and that was it. And I had met her at a bar, and she told me like, hey, she kind of was flirting with me, had half given me shit, and then she revealed to me she knew who I was because she had fucked my best friend. I was like, oh, okay. But I knew exactly, once she said who she was, and like I put it 2 and 2 together, I was kind of drunk, but put it together, my instincts were just, fuck, pretty girl. then I was like, oh shit, okay, this kind of complicates things. But I knew that he just fucked her and he never talked to her about her after that. Just like, yeah, I fucked this girl from my art class and that was it. I was like, okay. In that situation, you would think it's okay, but it gets a little bit complicated because I ended up going out on a date with her and I'd asked him, I said, hey man, me and X and Y have been talking and, you know, do you mind if I take her on a date? Because, you know, I hooked up with her big sister in the sorority, not her actual blood sister. And I was like, I kind of want to, you know, tap two in the family. So, you know, can I go on a date with her? And he's like, yeah, I don't care. Well, I ended up going on a date with her and we like made out and I don't know, kind of fooled around in the car, but nothing too serious. And soon after he started talking to her again. And then they actually like eventually got together and got married. Sometime after this, and I always kind of wonder like if I had anything to do with it. It's not to, we're not trying to denigrate him. We're not friends anymore, but you know, I still don't want to try and talk shit, but it seemed to me a very strange coincidence, right? It was right after we'd gone on a date, and I kind of feel like maybe she had some ulterior motives behind it. So, you know, people can get very protective over things. You know, guys and girls, right? We can be very territorial about people we've been with, and we can kind of feel like they're ours. Whether, you know, that's justified or not, you know, that's another conversation, but yeah. So even if he was fucking her casually or it was a one-time thing, I'd still ask that question, and then I'd ask him. I think that would be a more of a situation where if you ask, she's like, hey man, I've been talking to her. I know you fucked her like last year. Is it cool if I hit that, or is it cool if I go on a date with her or something? And if he's like, yeah, dude, I don't care. Pay attention to the way that he responds. And if he gives it, like, if he seems truly okay with it, because I thought my friend was okay with it, but it kind of affected things. If it was a girl he was talking to, went on a date with, okay, you know, maybe you still want to ask because he's your close buddy. Be like, hey man, what's her name? You know, blah, blah, blah. She messaged me on Instagram, like, it's okay if I fuck her. And if he says no, you know, respect that. You know, you can think he's being jealous or whatever, but he's your best friend, so, or close friend, so you should respect that. Now, if it's a friend, like you guys are cool, you've hung out a few times, you know, if you see him, you're like, hey man, what's up? Like, how are you? Da-da-da, you know, want to grab a beer? Serious ex-girlfriend, I'd still be careful. But you get a little bit more leeway. I think if it's been a while, if it's been like 6 months to a year or longer, I would still, you could go either way. But if it's a situation where you're maybe gonna go on a date with her, then you can ask him. I would still think that might be good etiquette. If it's a girl he was just fucking, okay, you know, just, you know, fucking, you guys can high five later that you're Eskimo brothers or something, okay? And if it was a girl he was just talking to, whatever, okay. If it's a guy you just kind of know, you've seen him at a party a few times, you're more of an acquaintance than a friend. If it's an ex-girlfriend, I mean, if it's fresh and you guys are at the party together and like you just broke up with her like, I don't know, a month ago, you don't want to be like finger blasting her in the fucking kitchen, right? You know, I would be careful with that for not only like care and respect reasons, but for reputation reasons as well. It might make you look like a bottom feeder, or, you know, you're going after sloppy seconds. But then if it's a girl he was casually seeing or whatever, okay, I wouldn't care that much. Just be discreet about it. It's best if he doesn't know, because it could still complicate things, but you know, you're not that good of friends with him. Okay, so, wait, did I just go through all of them? Yeah. Wait a second. All right, I was like looking at my notes and I'm like, are we done? Okay. The only last note I would give is that, you know, if he's over it or not, you know, because even if he's just a casual friend, but he's still a friend, but you can tell that he liked her a lot, even if they were just kind of fucking. If they were fucking, then I would say if he liked her a lot, I'd be careful with it. You know, I would definitely give it some consideration. But if it was just some guy you know and he was crazy about her, well, you know, he's not your homie, okay? So, you know, if he didn't do something to keep with her, I don't know, he cheated on her, whatever, he just wasn't cool enough, you know, that's not my problem, okay? But if it's a serious friend or a pretty good friend, I'd listen to those recommendations. There's not like a 6 months to a year. That's kind of just the general advice. But I would give it consideration, and I would really ask yourself, because the main thing is, well, because she wants to fuck you, she wants to fuck you, right? But sometimes girls can have ulterior motives, right? Like in the situation I explained. Sometimes girls can want to get back at an ex. Do you really want to be the guy that well, I don't know. I can't tell a guy, like, do you really want to just get free pussy because, you know, she wants to get back at, you know, she wants to have some fun, or she always liked you. I hear that a lot. You know, it's really scummy. It's like, yeah, I kind of had a crush on you when I was dating him. And I was just like, oh my God, that's so fucking dark. But I'm sure I've been the boyfriend and, you know, my ex-girlfriend liked other guys. Can't really stop that, but it just doesn't feel good. But if I tell you not to fuck her just for that sake, you're gonna be like, fuck you, Hector, I'm getting some pussy. But you're caring about if it would hurt him, and if it's his business. And I think it's only his business if they were serious, okay? Past that, or him not being a serious friend, that's when you need to give it some consideration. So I didn't give you any specific timetables because it's not that simple. Maybe if you were looking for clear-cut answers, maybe this complicated things even more for you. But I think it's important for his sake and also for your reputation's sake, right? Because I've myself and known people who have cast reputation to the side uncaringly and done things, and was it worth it? I don't know, you know. Part of me says no regrets, part of me says, well, I probably could have, you know, been a little bit less of a piece of shit. But that's how I learned my lessons, and I've had people be pieces of shit to me, and had close friends go after ex-girlfriends or girls that I was sleeping with, and kind of callously, like, I don't know that they were competing with me. They just had harboring secret hate for me, I don't know, and you know, that revealed who they were as friends, right? So you don't want to jeopardize someone's like happiness, you don't want to jeopardize your friendship just for some pussy, right? But there are situations when it's really not that big of a deal and you can get some pussy, so yeah, cool. Hector Castillo, Poppy from girlschase.com. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, subscribe, ring the bell, follow me on Instagram. I'll see you soon. Ciao.